Howdy y'all, this is Ethan Von Real, kicking off another video of Mother 3, and we're gonna get right into things here. Let's talk to Duster. I'm not really sure what to say. What happened to Hinawa today was a terrible tragedy. I can't say I know how you're feeling. Hinawa's burial ended without incident. Lucas has been crying at her grave ever since. His poor little heart seems like it's about to break into two. If there's anything else I can do for you, just let me know anytime. Well, thank you, Duster. So if you don't remember, because I kind of just rushed right out of there, we received the news after saving our children, or hearing that our children were safe, rather, that our wife Hinawa is actually not alive anymore, and in fact not alive in a very terrible way. She was killed by a Drago, apparently. So, while I search through these houses, I'm just kind of showing off the town here, and also kind of forgetting where I'm supposed to go for a second. And also making sure I don't miss out on any, items that might be hidden about. But, yeah, so I started talking about the villagers a bit. Hey, who the hell are you? I'm Nana, I like the ocean. Okay. Good for you, Nana. I started talking about how the villagers seem not to deal well with negative events, but it made me think also that, people tend to... Oh, hey, there's a present, I need to grab that. People tend to have very different ways of dealing with grief, and one of the things that's very frustrating to me is when people don't let me grieve, in the way that I'm comfortable with. Like, they try to force me to, like, distract myself with stuff, but sometimes I do want to be left alone in my thoughts, and so this kind of resonated with me, because a lot of the villagers don't really give Flint the opportunity to really dwell on his, thank you, maps in there in this cemetery. Thank you, you marked that for us. Give him really the opportunity to dwell. Oh. Okay. So if we follow her inside, actually, she'll actually give us a free nut bread, and then also if we give her nuts in the future, like the kind we find in the forest, we can actually have her bake us more bread. But anyway, I guess with the whole Flint grieving thing, though, even though, like, people just kind of tell him to get over his wife dying, basically, in my opinion. Although some people seem to dwell on it, too, but they're definitely less torn up about it than him. Is that decidedly he did kind of react in a very violent way, when he figured things out. So that's what Paul's talking about right there. He was like, it's wrong to take your aggressions out on other people. Alright, so... So we need to head to the cemetery. And we're going to talk to the villagers a bit before we actually commence with the actual funeral. Hey, it's Reggie. We can forget happy things. We can probably forget sad things too. People have the power to forget. Hello? Who are you? Oh, oops, not looking at him. There we go. Mr. Flint, this was such a terrible tragedy. Words fail me. I've humbly prepared a grave of finest quality for you. Your wife's resting in it right now, but when the time comes, you'll be able to rest right beside her. It's a top-notch grave, it is. Although I feel a little bit biased by my assessment of the villagers, because it might just be that I personally dislike how they deal with grief, and it could be me just kind of imposing my own viewpoint on their interaction with Flint about this, but IDK. It seems like Klaus was the first person in Hinawa's grave. When I called out to him, he gave me a tiny smile, and then he left. Huh. Okay, that's a little bit ominous. You know, really someone should be watching after these kids while they're dealing with this. I don't know what's really going on here. Sob, sniff, Hinawa, what about you? Sob, Hinawa. She barely even got to live life, wouldn't you agree? I can't not drink at a time like this. Hinawa dying. I just don't want to believe it. Flint, you and Hinawa, you two loved each other so much that even the little birds in the forest were jealous, and that'll never change. My deepest condolences to you. Sorry for my old man's drunkenness, Flint. Whoops. Huh. So there are more villagers up here. Oh. There's the grave, too. Where's Klaus? See, I'm glad someone's worried about that kid, because really, this is setting up for some sort of terrible tragedy. And if you didn't know, which Paul just told us, sunflowers are actually Hinawa's favorite flowers. I'm sure she's up in the sky now. Wah. She was so cheerful and nice. She was even my mommy's best friend. And I think I mentioned this before, but Lisa, that woman, is actually the one to introduce Hinawa and Flint, apparently. No problem here. If only we had started looking earlier. What do you want? Oh, well, I guess it's kind of rude to ask at his daughter's funeral. So if you don't remember, that's Alec, who is Hinawa's father. And apparently he just got news of what happened. And he seems a bit mellow about it, although he is bowing his head. He's sad, but seems to be coping fairly well. Say, come to think of it, where's Klaus? Is he not with you? I'm glad someone else is worried about him. He said he was going to see you, but he never came back. Lucas, do you know where Klaus went? Uh-oh. No. Lucas. It's not good to keep secrets from people. Don't tell me Klaus went after that detestable Drago to try to... No! He didn't try to take Dad's homemade knife and go into the mountains to kill the Drago. The fuck? Ah! That is actually... really... terrible. We should probably do something about that. Lucas, why didn't you try to stop him? Well... I said I wanted to go too, but he said no because he was going alone. And that kid's pretty hardcore. So you just let him go? You fool! Although, I guess my assessment of Alec was a little bit... presumptuous, because he is being a little bit harsh on that kid, considering he's like 5 or some shit. Maybe that was a little too harsh of me. Flint. Actually, I think he's like 9. But anyway, it sounds like Klaus is headed to the mountains to kill the Drago. We're in a race against time, but this can't be an ordinary Drago we're dealing with here. We're gonna need the proper equipment. So, he's basically sending us on a fetch quest to go get a weapon that can murder giant dinosaur dragon things. Alright. And apparently we can ask Mapson to help us out with that. And Isaac's still wearing more classes, so they're all gonna keep saying the same things. But, I guess TLDR, this is gonna be a fairly short episode, because we have a really big episode coming up after this. Oh hey, what the fuck was it? It's a sketch of the area. Looks like there's a castle up here, that's interesting, okay. I think that, in the very least, the people in this village have very different ways of dealing with grief, although it might just be because Flint is the one that had the tragedy kind of happen in his life and they're not, but as I said before, tragedy seems to be something unfamiliar to the people in the village. Oh hey, the music's different. Well, I'm not going to go any further with this, so I'm going to go ahead and cut the video here. Thank y'all for watching and listening to my thoughts, I appreciate it. Have a good night or day, and I'll catch y'all later. See ya.